live from Folsom Prison. It is We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel, and I am one of your hosts, and I have lost 150 pounds, and with me today is my participation trophy husband.
Whoa, Donald Weigel. I'm not sure how to take that. Participation trophy husband. That's me, Participation Trophy Joe, they call me, although my name is Donald, so it's weird. Hi, I've lost a little over 100 pounds.
That deserves an actual trophy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, we're We Only Look Thin, and today we are going to talk about prisons of our own making.
Yes.
But first, we are going to start off with a tip of the week.
Tao!
Tao! And then we are going to talk about how we make ourselves feel like we're at home and have no control over our lives.
And then I believe we have a product of the week.
Pow!
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 Pow. We're just going to say that for 40 minutes.
Are you uncomfortable with how I started out the show? Do you want me to change it?
No, I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here we're going to go.
Hey, any kind of trophy husband I can be, participation or otherwise. Look, we need to start appealing to a younger demographic. So if we can give away participation trophies on this show, even if it's participation husband trophies.
Well, I
think
got
we
the
should do it.
participation trophy husband, and then it leveled up. Like right now, 20 years later, you have...
Wow, I feel like that's even worse. Like you settled for me.
I settled for nothing.
At
I
that
am
young age. He was a participation trophy. You know, I got married to him because he was there.
I was pretty sure you were going to punk me. Like
he asked.
I fell in love with you, and I was pretty sure 6 months later you were just going to be like, guess what? You love me now? Too bad for you. So I'm really glad you stuck around.
Yeah, me too.
I'm kind of crazy.
It worked out well for me, and now I'm
did.
just riding your coattails into weight loss, internet stardom success.
And into the gates of Folsom Prison.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot. We're live from Folsom Prison,
We
just
are.
like Johnny Cash.
Johnny Cash.
Because
We're
if there's
basically Johnny Cash.
basically we're Johnny Cash, and because we all know that prison inmates love talking about weight loss.
They love it. It's their thing.
It's their thing.
Wasn't that what Shawshank Redemption was about?
I'm pretty sure. it was.
Is it fitness? Boy, it'd be nice if all I got were 3 square meals a day.
I'm Morgan Freeman, and I'm here to talk about sustainable changes.
In libraries.
That was the world's worst Morgan Freeman impression.
Anyway, I think Morgan Freeman is his own worst impression.
Okay.
I'm the only person in America who does not think he is a national treasure.
Please resubscribe to our show. I know that Catherine just caused most of you to unsubscribe, but please take a moment when you've gotten over it to resubscribe to our podcast.
Look, I believe I did not see the musical Hamilton, but I'm pretty sure that there was a line from Aaron Burr who said, if you don't stand for anything, what will you fall for? And I am not standing for Morgan Freeman.
Wow.
I'm double downing. So we're going to start out.
She really is a wonderful person, everyone, despite her
I just think he's a
horrible
one-note
take on
actor.
Morgan Freeman.
Just like we're a one-note podcast, he's a one-note actor. And you keep coming back.
I think we are a many-note podcast.
We are many-noted.
We have at least 3 notes.
3 notes. Speaking of 3, we are going to start out with our tip of the week.
Tao!
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you, darling.
So this episode comes in 3s, and we're going to talk about Superman 3.
Superman
3.
Which most people believe to be the best
The
of
best
the Superman.
of the Supermans.
No, not.
Nobody
Still
says
better
that.
than Superman 5, actually.
But
Or 4. Whichever
had
one was the fight for peace. That was the really bad one.
We had a good idea regarding Superman 3. So in Superman 3...
She's being humble. It was her idea.
So,
and it's genius.
But Donald remembered the details, so really it's his idea. So
in that movie, part of the plot is that Richard Pryor is like a computer savant. Like he's never really used a computer before. He goes in to take a computer class, and he just like seems to know how to do it, and it's innate. And so he figures out that when people are paid at this company that's run by Robert Vaughn, who played the Man from U.N.C.L.E., by the way, because the kids love references to the Man from U.N.C.L.E.
Mommy, what's freebasing?
I just said we're trying to relate to millennials, and I now am. What's freebasing because of Richard Pryor?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're taking it back to like 1970s jokes and 1950s TV shows. So we are hip and current, and the millennials love us. And part of the plot is that he figures out that like people, when they get paid, they don't just get paid like $100. It's usually like $100 and like a quarter cent. And so he creates a computer program that skims that like quarter cent off the top and funnels it into his account. And this was the impetus for Catherine's genius idea. And now I'm going to let her tell you about it.
You've been listening to this podcast, and we haven't told you anything yet.
I know.
So here it comes. Start now. So our Superman 3 idea is to round up your goals. So, for example, I have a Fitbit, and right now I have 5,732 steps. I am going to keep walking, not right now because I'm sitting right now because we're doing a podcast, but in general, when I look at my Fitbit and I see that I'm at an odd number of steps, I will level up to the next 10 steps or the next 100 steps. So if you're at 133 steps, keep walking until you hit 200. It is a way for me to kind of sneak in a little bit of extra movement without too much pain, but it helps me get toward my goal faster.
Yeah, and if you telling yourself I need to drink 8-ounce glasses of water, maybe make it like a 10-ounce glass of water.
Yeah, just people love the metric system, so just like level up to the 10s, to the 100s, and you can sneak in some extra steps.
If you're weighing something and it's 1 ounce of food, or which is 28 grams of food, why not make it 30 grams of food?
So we're not saying add.
But count it as 30 grams.
Count
of food.
it as 30 grams.
Yeah, so you're sort of just banking that extra, 20, 30 calories at a time. And by the end of the day, that really adds up.
Yeah, so if you say you've had 9 grapes, make it 10 grapes.
Yeah,
if you've had...
record 10 grapes.
Yeah.
Don't actually eat the 10.
Yeah, if you've had 7 wheat thins, round it up to 10. And you'll be kind of buying back calories from yourself. And it won't seem painful because...
It's like a calorie savings plan.
Right, because, so many times in life we... we go in our own favor. So if we take a tablespoon, quote unquote, of peanut butter, we make it a heaping tablespoon. So we're stealing calories from ourselves, so to speak. So if you round up,
bank some,
bank it.
Superman 3 it.
Superman 3. So that is our tip of the week.
Tip of the week to you.
Tip of the week to you.
Tao.
Wow.
Ooh, I like
that was Superman trying to spin the earth backward.
I like the echo effect.
So now we're going to move on to topic 2, which is about prisons.
Yes.
And how we pretend that we're in them when really the prison is in our mind.
And we're going to break down Johnny Cash's seminal Live at Folsom. No, we're not doing that.
No. So if you are someone who works from home or is a home caregiver, or you are a new parent who has a child underfoot, and I am someone who actually works from home. I didn't for a long time, but I do now.
Yes, you do.
I hear many times that people say, if only I worked in an office.
If only.
Then I could lose weight. If only I didn't have to watch my kids, I could go to the gym and then I would get exercise.
If only.
If only I could afford a gym membership, then I could lose weight.
If only.
So if only it wasn't snowing, then I could go out and get activity. So we use all of these different excuses. Sorry, do you want to say if only?
No.
If you're done, I'm done with that.
No,
that bit is over.
I hit my if only limit.
So we tell ourselves if we work from home, if it's a weekend, if we're a caregiver, or if we're at home, with a broken foot and we can't go anywhere and we gotta be at home. We tell ourselves if only we could get out of the house, then we would be living our perfect lives.
Yeah, we make ourselves prisoners of our own circumstances. We take all of these things and make excuses. And the bottom line is, Catherine and I did that for years and years and years, and made up these excuses. And we are here to tell you that you too can work in a meal and exercise plan that works, because we have done it.
And And I would tell you, if you are someone who is at home all the time, there is a doppelganger in the universe who is at their job saying, gosh, if only I worked from home, then I could lose weight. If only I was at home all the time, then I could do whatever. So whatever your situation is, there's someone on the opposite side wishing that they were you.
I would love to meet my doppelganger and plan a caper.
Sort of a throw mama from the train situation?
No, just some sort of caper. Like
you want to be in a caper.
Like a heist or just a caper.
I'm just thinking of lemon caper butter sauce. Personally, if you want to be in a caper, let Donald know. He's looking for a partner in crime.
For once in my life, I would like, it's on my bucket list to be involved in a caper
Tim
of some
Robbins
kind.
to his Morgan Freeman.
Not necessarily something, not eating capers, but
the juice to his Newton. I don't know.
Juice to my Newton. Now we're referencing Juice Newton.
That's the second time we've talked about Juice Newton in this podcast. So anyway, the gravity issue talked about Juice Newton and Fig Newton.
Wow.
So go back. But anyway, we are now in a position in our lives where we have growth mindsets. We don't limit ourselves by our circumstances. We MacGyver our circumstances to work in our favor. I worked in an office.
MacGyver's the most modern reference we've made on this show.
We're contractually obligated to not mention anything after, I don't know, the
all pop culture stopped after 1990.
Yeah, after Saved by the Bell, we are not contractually allowed to talk about anything after that. So I used to work in an office, and it had many bagel Fridays, it had many work lunches and brunches, and it had many candy dishes. And then I started working from home about 4 years ago, when I started this weight loss journey. And I literally can back my work chair up to our pantry. I don't have to stand up. I've got little rollers on my chair. I just beep, beep,
No,
beep.
that chair rolls well around that kitchen. Sometimes I get in it and just roll around for fun.
So I have access to food 24/7. If I wanted to stay up, food is always there.
Yeah.
And as grown-ups, we have to decide whether we're at home or at work, when we're going to make food available to ourselves, and when we're going to move. And just because we work at home, or we are caregivers, or we have kids, we can find ways to be the champions of our food and movement choices at home. And being at home and being a victim of your circumstance, you can emotionally eat, you can stress eat, and there's food all the time. All you have to do is open the refrigerator.
Yeah, we make up these excuses for ourselves that we can't do it because we are trapped, that we're under house arrest, that we're inside. And this applies to people who aren't working from home as well, but we make these excuses and create this prison inside our own heads that we just can't do it. We've got too many responsibilities. We're stuck working right next to food 24 hours a day. How can we possibly escape? Reeling into madness.
But really, our homes should be a refuge, not a prison. And even if you are a single person dweller, or if you live with other people, we can say that we're victims of, there's no one else around, so I can't make choices, or there are too many other people around, so I can't make choices.
Yeah.
Whatever our circumstance, we make an excuse, and we are asking you today to MacGyver your life and be a champion. And we're going to give you some ideas for both movement and food ideas that will help you be the champion.
We as humans love to make excuses. We love to tell ourselves that we can't do something because we don't actually like to work hard. We don't like to take the path that would lead to our eventual happiness because it takes work to do that. And so we come up with all of these reasons to put ourselves in our own house arrest.
So, and part of that is if you work from home or if you're a parent, and I know it, kids thrive on schedules. I know we have people have eating schedules for kids and sleeping schedules for kids. And at offices, we have schedules. But for some reason, when we go home, we don't think that we need to schedule our lives. And whether you're fun employed a parent, a caregiver, or a home at work employee, scheduling your time is critical. You are not a victim of your time. You are the beneficiary of how you schedule your time. And I think maybe we'll start with talking about scheduling eating. Donald, you are a fan of scheduled eating.
Yeah.
Why don't you talk about that?
This is something I do on a daily basis, and I've talked about it before on this show, but through trial and error, I discovered that if I just sort of wing it, if I just sort of eat when I feel hungry, if I just kind of, decide in the moment when I'm going to eat something, that I'm much more likely to overeat and to give into whatever emotion I'm feeling at a particular moment. So this took me a long time to come up with, but I basically figured out that if I try and eat lunch at the same time every day, or, the first food I eat of the day at the same time, and then I have small snacks throughout the day that I eat on an hourly basis, essentially. So I'll have my lunch at 2 p.m., and I eat late on purpose to, control when I'm having my calories. And then, 3 p.m., I have 150 calorie snack. 4 p.m., another roughly 150 calorie snack. 5 p.m., 6 p.m., and then I try and eat dinner between 7 and 8, and I do that every day. And some people may see it as monotonous and boring, but it has really helped me to not give in to my whims and my emotions. And I am able to, plan these things ahead. And it's just sort of like, oh, this is the time I do it. And, when it's not that time, I don't eat.
Well, and I think, too, there's an instinct for me, and it's something that I've worked on, is when I'm at home and working, like I said, I can literally back up to the refrigerator or the pantry at any time. And if I'm stressed out at my office / kitchen, I think, ooh, what could I eat right now? And giving yourself permission 8 hours a day to just have one hand on the keyboard and one hand in the pantry, not a good idea. And for me, I don't eat usually until 12:30 each day. Each person is different. But what we're asking you to do is schedule your eating times, just as you would if you had a pet. Dogs, if you keep putting food out, they'll just keep eating. And you could make your home life a 24/7 buffet, but you're going to pay the price for that. It's all you can eat. You pay the price.
Yeah.
But so I eat at 12:30. Food is not the answer between when I wake up and 12:30. It is not my answer. And it actually takes that pressure off. And I'm an emotional eater. So just knowing like, okay, I'm stressed out. I'm not going to eat right now. I eat at 12:30. Once you train yourself to do that, once you train and schedule yourself, whether it's I'm going to have breakfast at 9 a.m. and then I'll have a snack at 11 a.m. and then I'll have lunch at 1 p.m. Scheduling those eating times, one, gives you something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And two, it limits your exposure to food throughout the day because we're grown-ups. Nobody's watching you. You can do whatever you want, but you pay that price. So schedule your eating times, whether it's by calorie amount or by certain eating windows. It can really help you control your eating circumstances.
Yeah, and I am not a good decision maker when it comes to food.
And with anything, really.
Wow. Suddenly regretting a certain decision I've made.
Oh, no.
But I have proven time and time again that I cannot make responsible decisions when it comes to food. So I almost think of myself as being like sober Don and drunk Don when it comes to food. And sober Don wakes up in the morning and is like, I am going to make a responsible choice. And then later in the day, drunk Don's like, I'm going to eat an entire gallon of Nesquik. And so I try and make all those decisions when I am fresh and feel in control, which is earlier in the day. And so that is part of why I plan my food the way I do. And I stick to, healthy protein filled things earlier in the day and don't allow myself any treats until later, and everything is planned out in advance.
Yeah. So we're going to rapid fire some ideas of how to limit your food intake. For someone who is a caregiver, for someone who has a child at home, make rules for yourself about the food that you eat. Do not eat off of anyone else's plate, child or otherwise.
Yeah.
Do not take bites, licks, and tastes, BLTs,
BLTs,
when you're preparing someone else's food.
Or bacon, lettuce, tomato sandwiches.
Yeah.
That was a joke.
Like I said, schedule breaks for yourself for food. Don't just impulsively eat whenever you want to. We also have an episode called The Convenience of Convenience, which is episode, I don't know. We'll
Great episode. I'll put it in the show notes, though.
But the convenience of convenience. If you're working in your kitchen, don't keep tempting food at eye level. Tuck it away, put it in a high cabinet, put it at the back of the refrigerator. Keep healthy snacks on hand, pre-washed apples, carrots. Keep lots of nice, cool, refreshing water in the refrigerator to enjoy. Make it easy to make helpful choices.
And don't keep your trigger foods at home. Just don't do it. Don't bring the devil home with you is something that Catherine likes to say a lot.
Well, and two, if you cohabitate, if you live with someone else or you have kids who have maybe different foods than you do, I've had to make our daughter's food off limits. I cannot have her trail mix. I cannot have her protein bars. There are certain foods that are on the no-fly list for me. And I've had to make hard rules about that because I do work in the kitchen and I could eat whatever I wanted whenever I wanted to. So now I think we're going to talk about, since we've talked about food, now I think we're going to talk about sneaking movement into your day, whether it's inclement weather, whether you need to be home with a napping child, or you're stuck at a desk job all day. What do I do?
Yeah, and the big suggestion, and we have an entire episodes about movement of this show, but try and work purposeful movement into your routine while you're getting things done. If you are somebody who is at home and you need to do housework, take vacuuming breaks. That burns calories. Dusting burns calories if you do it right. Doing things like straightening up and taking one item at a time to and from other rooms to organize. Things like that. And another thing I do is I have alarms set on my phone and my watch to remind me to get at least 250 steps every hour. And so I will just get up, get the 250 steps, and go right back to my work.
Well, and I think, too, being at home, there's an impulse to stay in your pajamas all day or, I can't get up from my desk. But if you were in an office place, you would go to the kitchen, you'd go to the water cooler, you'd walk to the restroom. Unless you have, like a call center job where you literally are not allowed to stand up.
Yeah.
You can take breaks. People take smoking breaks. You don't smoke. Walk around your house once. Walk around your apartment building once. Walk to the mailbox 2 or 3 times a day. You can take small breaks to sneak in steps. And if you're on, say, a conference call where you don't have to do much talking, this is something I've done. I have a rebounder, and I will rebound on mute while on conference calls.
Yeah, I do it all the time at work. I will get on a work phone call and I will get up and start just pacing back and forth in my office or go outside and take the call if I think it's going to be a long one and I don't need to be right in front of my computer for it. And I sneak in steps that way.
Yeah, and I too, I do that, 250 steps an hour. And then I will do the thing where I round up and Superman 3 it and just get a little bit more.
Yeah.
And it really only takes a minute or two. And if you're taking breaks and you're working, if you take a break and say, you know what, I'm going to get my 250 steps by gathering all of the trash from the different bins around the house and putting it in the kitchen trash. I'm going to go and collect glasses from bedrooms in other parts of the house. Multitasking and seeing it as exercise really does make a difference. And it's something that you kind of have to do anyway, and you're not robbing from your employer. You're taking a 5-minute break. an hour, and that's okay, and that's totally suitable.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've talked about before, too, you don't need to have, big, expensive pieces of gym equipment. If you have the room and you can afford that, fantastic. But if you're telling yourself, I can't get exercise in without those things, there are definitely ways to do it. There are plenty of exercises you can do just with your own body weight and the floor. Push-ups, sit-ups, crunches. There's a great website, which we've referenced a bunch, called Blogilates, which she's got a lot of exercises that you can just do at home without any equipment.
Yeah, and two, when I'm at my desk and I want to get in 250 steps, or if you're a parent and can't leave a child unattended, you can do fitness martial videos. He is a choreographed dancer who uses contemporary music, and you can dance along to his videos. They're fun, they're funny. They take, I can get 300 steps in one song. It's a 3-minute break. It gets you moving, it gets you standing, and it's super fun. And I think kids enjoy it also. I've seen, I know Melissa in Australia has done fitness martial videos with her baby daughter. So it is a fun way to sneak in steps. Only takes a couple minutes. You don't have an hour to get cardio. It's okay. You can just dance for 3 minutes.
Also, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you can hear this in the background, but somebody is using a power saw outside.
It's like our props department.
I know that people hate it when we talk about sound quality, but I just wanted to mention
we do our own sound effects.
If you can hear that, it is a power saw in the background.
Was that a plot line in Superman 3? Was anyone welding anything together
Sure.
or something?
We've got a power saw because of Power Man 3. Yeah. Superman 3.
But you can also be creative. Do not be a victim of your circumstance. If you are a caregiver and cannot leave a room, do chair exercises. There are plenty of googly searches you can do for chair exercises. You can do arm exercises sitting in a chair. I could do it right now. I'm doing an exercise. I'm doing 2 things at once.
She is.
So be the champion of your choices. Be the champion of the conditions that you're in. This is one of the must be nice ideas that I had as a child.
Yeah.
There was a Bette Midler movie where she was kidnapped. And she's a little overweight, and she's a prisoner. This is not acceptable in the year 2019, but in what was it, like 1988 or something, the movie came out. She was in this basement captive, and it was a comedy movie about being kidnapped.
Was it Ruthless People?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And so she's in this basement, and she's like, you know what? I'm going to use this paint can to do barbell curls, and I'm going to walk the stairs of the basement to get in steps. And by the end of the movie, she's like, this was the best thing that ever happened to me. Now I'm in shape. And I was like, gee, if only... Boy, must be nice to be kidnapped and in a basement. That's not an acceptable weight loss.
Terrible.
But now I'm like, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
But it was a comedy movie before Beaches, or maybe after Beaches. I don't know. But
we're not IMDb. If you want to know what order those movies came out, you can Google it.
But using what is around you really makes a difference. I know we're joking about the terrible tragedy of being kidnapped, but if you are a prisoner in your home, you can make purposeful choices, and you can use what is around you to be a beneficiary of your surroundings and not a victim.
I should have brought this up while we were talking about food, but I didn't, so I'm going to do it now. People oftentimes say that they just don't have time to cook at home, and I can tell you that I don't remember the last time I actually cooked something.
Oh my gosh, if somebody says, like, I need recipes for weight loss, I'm like...
Yeah, there are plenty of, like, pre-made, semi-homemade, like, low-calorie, like, there is no shame, I believe there is no shame in resorting to, lean, healthy, frozen meals when you're in a pinch, when you don't have time. I eat lots of vegetarian frozen things that take very little effort on my part, and it is, now there is a
biplane.
Really loud biplane going by.
There's an air show.
There's an air show and an electric saw show happening right outside our window right now.
It's World War II flying, Ace.
But breaking down those barriers of of telling yourself that you have to cook to eat healthy, that you have to buy expensive fresh food in order to eat healthy. And those things are great, and if you have time for them, I do encourage them. But keeping, frozen turkey burgers around, something that you can just take out and heat up, is breaking down a huge barrier.
For sure. And I think, too, being at home it's supposed to be comforting, and it's supposed to be convenient, and we make barriers for ourselves. It's almost like, our home is our own globe, and the North Pole is the refrigerator and the South Pole is the couch. And we feel drawn to both of those. We just want to sit. We want to be a victim. How am I supposed to get in steps? How am I supposed to eat well when it's right there? We are grown ups. Like, technically, if you work from home, guess what? I don't have to drive. Why don't I just drink alcohol all day? Like, who's going to know? We put up certain constructs in our lives that we won't go past. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. Like, you don't have to make food the choice 24/7. You don't have to make sitting the choice 24/7. And I'm going to maybe finish this off with a little bit of bummer math.
Oh boy.
So let's say that you are up 16 hours a day and you are at home.
Yeah.
And
you're awake for 16, you sleep for 8.
Right. And you think, okay, my eyes are open and I'm at home, so I can eat. So you're telling me 16 hours a day, food is an option. You wouldn't do that to a pet. You wouldn't do that to a child. You wouldn't do that to a baby. It's not all you can eat buffet 24/7, or at least 16 hours a day. So let's say you did decide that 16 hours a day you were going to eat. That's 112 hours of eating a week. That's a lot of eating time.
A lot.
So let's just say that instead, this is sort of what I do. I sort of do an intermittent fasting thing, but only for the limiting my time of eating. But let's just say that you limit your eating time to 8 hours a day. That would take it down to 56 hours a week of eating. Down from 112 down to 50.
Yeah.
You still get 56 hours to eat.
You cut it in half.
But let's say, too, you actually, which is the window that I'm doing right now, I am only doing a 6-hour eating window a day. That takes it down to 42 hours a week of eating. That is a full-time job of eating. Like, that in itself is a full-time job. So you have a full-time job to eat your food in a week, and I think that's enough.
Yeah.
Like, food is not the answer if hunger is not the question.
Yeah. And look, it is okay to be hungry. I think that we've gotten so used to the idea that we shouldn't be uncomfortable, even for a minute, that the second that we get hungry, we want to eat. Becoming comfortable with my hunger has been one of the keys to this. And I'm not, I don't wait until I'm starving. I don't wait until I can't make rational decisions. But understanding that I'm going to be hungry from time to time, and that's okay. It's not a panic situation.
Well, and two, we're not saying that only eating between 2 p.m. and 8 p.m. is the answer. I think there are certain people who really need breakfast, so go ahead and have your breakfast.
Yeah.
But then don't eat again until noon.
Yeah, you have to figure out what's right for you. And, I'm not advocating intermittent fasting. I just happen to find that it's easier for me to control my calories if I wait until 2 p.m. to do it.
Well, and I've said, too, that I do my best snacking and eating late in the evening. So for me, I am not as hungry during the daytime, so I wait. But be aware of what makes you feel good. Eating 16 hours a day is not the answer. And if you, like I said, if you had a pooch, a dog, you would not just feed it whenever it begged, because it would beg all the time.
No.
Like, that's what dogs do. And I think that we do that too. We just think like, oh, well, but I'm hungry and I'm uncomfortable and I don't want to deal with my work situation and the kids are stressing me out. Like, all of those things are just excuses. And we need to be grown-ups and take the full-time job of controlling our impulses.
Yeah, for sure. Also, if you are somebody who tells yourself that you don't get enough support at home, and
Ooh, this is a good one.
that you just can't do it because you're not being supported at home, you can do this without home support. You can find it within yourself to find that support. And also, you can reach out. You can do things like listen to this podcast. And I know I'm sort of joking, but I'm not. One of the keys to our weight loss success has been not just listening to the voices in our own heads, but reaching out and finding other voices, things that have really resonated with us and have made it possible for us to mold ourselves into the lifestyle that we have now, to evolve into having the lifestyle that we have now, where, eating and fitness has become part of our day-to-day routine.
Yeah, and sitting has become more difficult. It's even hard to record a podcast because we're sitting right now.
We need to figure out how to rebound and podcast at the same time.
We need to figure out how to use chainsaws and power saws also while we are recording. I don't know what is. I think they're building a Trojan rabbit outside or something.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
It is very noisy. So be the champion of your choices.
Find an online support group too if you need to reach out. There are other people out there who are going through exactly what you're going through now, and we've got one of those online. There are others out there, but reach out. There are other people going through exactly the same things as you. There are other people who have been through exactly the same things as you. And it is comforting and reassuring to know that there are others out there that can help you and that can give you advice and can be there for you when you need it.
Yeah. And I think, too, and on a final note, because I love my final notes, whatever we think is our problem is not our problem. If we think working from home is the problem, that's not the problem. Going to work in an office is not the solution. If you think that being stuck at home is the problem, it's not the problem. It's our mindset. What we think is possible, the benefits that we find within ourselves of our circumstance, and waiting for the perfect life and the perfect change, and for the kids to grow up and get out of the house, for the weather to change, for the circumstances to change. None of that is going to happen. I bet today, if all of that came true, you would be like, oh, wow, this is a bummer. None of my life is solved now.
Yeah, exactly.
So the solution is within you, and it's within your choices, and it's within your structure, the structure that you build for yourself. Because I know I have lost 100 American pounds since working from home, and it has changed my life. So I know if it is possible for me, it is possible for you.
Catherine, the magic was inside you all along.
I know. It took me 41 years to figure it out, but here I am. A delight and joy and inspiration. I'm sorry about the participation trophy thing. I thought that was just funny to say. You're amazing.
Very funny.
You're amazing.
It's very funny. So we are now going to go to our product of the week.
Pow!
Product of the week to you.
Product of the week to you. Do we say that? I don't remember. When we say
I don't know.
what.
I'm saying it now.
We can do whatever we want.
So our product is not exactly a product, but it's another podcast this time. And it's not even a weight loss podcast.
Yeah, but our friend and Walt member Julie actually suggested this podcast.
Thank you, Julie. It was a great suggestion.
So we talked a little bit about intermittent fasting, which is a smaller window of time in which to eat. And there are varying opinions on whether that is actually beneficial or not. So Julie suggested a podcast called
Science Versus.
Science Versus. So Science VS. It is a science podcast that tackles big questions like, what is the deal with intermittent fasting?
Yeah, and they have lots of other episodes, but it's extremely well researched. You can go to their website, and they've got literally over 100 scientific references for the episode on intermittent fasting. I think it's something like 160.
Yeah, so
different references where they've really thoroughly researched it, and I won't spoil, I won't break it down. But if you're interested in the science truth behind it, it's really fascinating.
Yeah, and too, I mean, for us, we are experts at very little, and much of what we know is anecdotal and from personal experience. And I think being eager to find reputable sources of information for whatever plan that you're on or whatever you hear is important in the industry. This Science Versus episode on intermittent fasting was very eye-opening. And there are pros and cons. That's not a huge spoiler, but it was a great episode to listen to. It gave me more perspective.
Turns out that things are not just, is it good or is it not good?
Yeah, so it's a little black and white. So that is our tip. Donald will put a link to the episode in our podcast notes.
Product of the week to you.
Product of the week to you. Thank you,
Pow.
Julie, also, by the way.
Yes, thank you, Julie. And thank you for listening to this show. We truly appreciate it, every single one of you. It is a gift to us, every one of you that listens. And
that's why it's called the present. Oh, wait, what? No, I'm mixing my metaphors.
It's a GIF to us. If you want to send us a GIF, you can do so by emailing us, weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at We Only Look Thin.
You can find us on Twitter at We Only Look Thin. And we also have a website, weonlylookthin.com. And it would really help us out if you get something out of the show, if you could go to iTunes and give us a quick review and a rating. In the podcast world, iTunes is king, and it would be, even if you don't use iTunes to listen to us, it would really help. And don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you do listen to podcasts.
Yeah, and tell your friends about it, and tell your relatives about it. So many people still don't know what a podcast is. They think it's a blog.
Yeah.
So share the gift of podcast with those around you.
I'm going to write a letter to the president of the internet to explain what podcasts are.
He is. So thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us at home. You're breaking the shackles off. Your orange jumpsuit is no longer working. You finally have some answers to your work at home, live at home questions.
And the next time that you are browsing Amazon.com for your custom-made, engraved, stay-at-home prison ankle bracelet, just remember that Catherine and I are an inspiration. Asian. The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.